Science is political. Hasan is right. Newsom would just create a slow decline to fascism. Also, all the liberals wanting to start the vote blue no matter who before the primary, before the midterms, they were really quiet about Zoran. This is in reference to Hasan Piker was on with Jennifer Welch on it was I've Had It, right?
No, it was a third-person show. I'm not as familiar with.
Okay. Well, nevertheless, he was asked, Gavin Newsom and J.D. Vance, who would you vote for? Son, being in California, is A, both very familiar with Gavin Newsom, and B, in California. And he said he would vote third party. Now, I assume people are not upset about how he's going to vote personally because it's California. And as I've said many times, like, you know, the issue in a safe state, who you're going to vote for is sort of secondary. But also, and I am someone who votes for the lesser of two evils. But the idea that you would espouse the voting of the lesser of two evils in a primary, because that's where we are. Let's be clear. There is no nominee for the Democratic primary, and there is no nominee for the Republican.
Thank you. The context of you living in California was missed by so many people. It doesn't matter. I think people are more honest than that. I think it's a little bit cope to say, oh, he lives in California. I know I have influence over people that don't live in California, okay? When I say something like that, I'm aware of what I'm saying. I'm not doing the oh, well, I'm in California. Who cares? Like, I think that's cope. No. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying. I'm saying that not as a California voter. I'm saying that as like I'm saying that with the full understanding and the full knowledge and the responsibility of someone with a audience that is far larger than California. Now, the first part of that story, as far as like having firsthand experience with Gavin Newsom being a Californian, that's true. That definitely plays a role in my assessment.
I should say, there's no Democratic nominee for the presidency, and there's no Republican nominee for the presidency. The idea that you would even remotely perturbed during essentially what we're in is the pre-primary or the primary for 2028 as to what people are saying. I mean, I would imagine when we were in 2020 saying something to the effect of like, I can't even imagine voting for Joe Biden. It is stupid. And what it does to me when people do that, I mean, obviously, yes, there's the hypocrisy about Chuck Schumer not voting for Zoran and and Jeffries, like, you know, endorsing so late. I mean, all of that. It just goes to show, like, they don't even believe that stuff. Yeah. But in fact, I probably believe it more than they do.
Oh, for sure.
Probably Hasan does.
But the idea that you would chastise somebody during a primary for such a thing gives away the game to me. Like, I am very late to the awareness of people being, and obviously now we have stories about how people are being paid online, influencers and stuff like that. I mean, I started doing this at a time where the idea of that was absurd. There was no even mechanism for anything like that. And so it never really occurs to me. But, like, I am just shocked that there is supposedly this many people motivated about who you're going to vote for in the 2028 presidential election. Like, we're not even in the primary yet. It's a very weird reaction.
Especially in the context of the previous election and what happened, say, in Michigan.
Yes, and I will also say, like, what's clearly going on right now, to the extent that there is any competition for the Democratic establishment and the narrative about which politics work better for the country, it is quite clear who is winning, at least relative to this competition in the past. And there was a poll, this Harry Hampton clip that was going around. The number of voters who have said that the Democratic Party is too liberal is 10% higher now than it was, I think, like, I don't know, 2024 or in the past 2 years or something. Now,
how clueless. admitting you have influence, but say you'd vote third party when 99% of your audience would suffer under Vance like they are under Trump. Is it clueless or is it a warning? Is it clueless or do I want to make sure that we defeat the Republicans? This is not my first election cycle. I've been doing this for the past 10 years. I started doing this in 2016. It's been a decade. I've been doing professional media coverage publicly since 2016, even before then, but started developing an audience in 2016. I can't always wait for people to learn through numerous election cycles and failure to arrive at the conclusions that you will inevitably arrive at. We've played this song and dance over and over again. 2016 with Bernie Sanders. And in 2020 with Joe Biden, we said he would usher in a new wave of fascism. He would be feckless. He would be ineffective. He would be an establishment Democrat. In a moment of instability, that fecklessness would have yielded a much worse version of fascism, and it did. What I'm demanding from the Democrats is to move in the direction of good policy and good politics that will bring back people that have left the party. That's what I want.
In my mind, yeah, but I scroll through to where it was. 42% I was shocked by this, of Democrats who perceive themselves as democratic socialists, 42% under the age of 35 do, 33% of all Democrats do, which I was shocked by.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I would expect that to be a bigger difference in those age numbers. Yeah, the older Dems.
And then the argument is being made here. Okay, so in 2013, back during Obama, 48% of voters say Democrats are too liberal. In 2025, 58%. The problem is, I will tell you this right now. In 2004, if you said you were a liberal, you would be pilloried by everybody from the right because it was considered like liberal meant communist. Like literally, the whole word progressive really came in as a word to say other than liberal. In that era, that's what it meant. And 15 years later, sometime in like 2017, 2018, if you identified as a liberal, you would not get attacked by someone on the right. Like I had people call me on Air America saying like, you're a liberal. And I would say, dude, I'm to the left of that. And they'd be like, what? You just admitted it. Like literally, I was like, yes, I'm doing a radio show.
I remember this era well.
And if I said I'm a liberal in 2018 on this show, the calls I would get would not be conservatives going, you just admitted it. It would be all people from the left, mostly younger than me. A lot of people are now, saying like, I knew it. I knew it. And so the idea that like there's 10% extra who's saying that Democrats are too liberal, I don't think it means what it would have meant in 2013 or 1996.
Yeah, and this stems from a lack of political education in the United States of America. And some might say that is by design, by the way. United States of America is the only country on the planet where liberal means the entirety of the left flank. Liberalism is not a left-wing ideology at all. Liberalism is a right-wing ideology. Everywhere else around the world. Now, of course, liberals will get mad at me for saying this. American liberals will get mad and they'll be like, Hasan, what are you talking about? The Democratic Party is the most like woke party on the planet. Yeah, on social policies, the Democrats are definitely a lot more, I guess, socially progressive than most other OECD nations. This is true, at least in their policy platform. Not in the implementation of certain things, but, at least like what they say they want to defend, right? But the economics of it all, the Democrats are actually incredibly right-wing, more right-wing than the average liberal party, sometimes even the conservative party. This is something that a lot of Americans do not comprehend. Americans think like liberalism is it. That's it. That's the whole left flank. From communists, people like myself are called very liberal, right? And I hate it. All the way to Nancy Pelosi. The reality of the matter is both the Republicans and the Democrats are broadly liberal. But in the international understanding, like in the political theory understanding of liberal, they're right wing. Just sucks, but it's the truth. America has a center right and a far right party. Or rather, if things continue the way they are, America will have a far right and a fascist party. One party that is no longer liberal at all, a post-liberal fascist party, and a right-wing, maybe not far right, but a right-wing Democratic party. Problem is, we don't have the language, the appropriate language, and the appropriate political education to understand this dynamic here. And that's the reason why you have these kinds of issues on the polling. I don't believe that if the specific delineation was made, that like all of a sudden there would be like, this massive growth of self-identifying socialists overall. I think that it would still be marginal, especially considering that we do live in a liberal monoculture. Capitalism is hegemonic. People don't have the proper understanding of what socialism is. It is a real surprise that someone like myself has even this community that I have of self-identifying socialists. Let's be real. Like, this is a really unique thing for America. I think a lot of people forget how unique this is. What we have here is insane, which is part of the reason why I never take it for granted. I always talk about, I always think about how fortunate I am, how privileged I am for this reason. I guess what I'm trying to say is, ultimately, due to the lack of political education, even if we were to make this specific designation between liberals and socialists, I still think a lot less people than we need would self-identify as socialists. However, it's still good to make this designation, to make this, to make sure that we know what this difference is. Because slowly but surely, you could actually grow the socialist movement that way. In America, given the material realities, social democrats are definitely a part of the left as well, even though they're obviously capitalist, because even democratic socialists, when they run for office, they run on social democratic policies, right? There's no world where you can expand beyond that. You just say, oh, I'm a democratic socialist. I want to, work within the confines of the bourgeois electoral system, within one of the two bourgeois liberal parties to get modest social safety nets for the workers. That's it. That's the most radical person you will encounter. Like Zioran Mossadegh, AOCIA, Bernie S.S. Anders. That's how it is. Hasan Pikkr is another example. Yes, I am a gross American chauvinist, a Western chauvinist, a white supremacist through and through. This is reflected in my consistent analysis of all of the resistance front against American empire and all of its allies. This is how that's the reason why I get called a terrorist every day by, everyone pretty much. Okay, call me a terrorist, but don't call me a trot. Come on, let's get real now.
I think it means that there are people who are going like, they support Zionism. They are too wishy-washy on shit.
Partner with capitalists.
They partner with capitalists. I mean, it only makes sense. I would like to see what the numbers of Democrats that associated themselves with as being democratic socialists in 2013 and 1996. But the point is, you're seeing polling like this because there is a concerted effort. Every day I read, there's another group out there funded by crypto money, whatever it is. Stories that Chuck Schumer is actually doing a good job recruiting Senate candidates. Really? Because it doesn't look like the Chuck Schumer picked candidate is going to win in Michigan. May not be my chosen candidate, but McMurrow wasn't picked by Schumer. In Maine, I just looked at the fundraising numbers for Janet Mills. I mean, Maine Democrats don't want Janet Mills. Plattner is probably going to win that.
Pills
Knock on
Mafia,
wood.
baby. Rise up, Pills heads. Hey, Pills Mafia. Let's go. Janet Pills mention. That's my girl. I'm a Janitsary. Janitsaries, rise up. All socialists, even communists running on liberal democratic systems are de facto social democrats. You can't run an election on, we are going to overturn capitalism. You run on policy issues. It's a reformist in nature. Yes. I mean, what you're describing is quite literally the reason why I describe what I described about Euro-communists and communist parties in every other Western-aligned nation. Communist parties in every Western-aligned nation have resorted to, they've all become reformists. This friction already played itself out. The revolutionaries got killed. They got destroyed. They got murdered, they got jailed, they got imprisoned. And so what remains is reformists. That's the reason why the Japanese Communist Party looks the way it does. That's the reason why most communist parties are that way in Europe as well. CPUSA, PSL, and FRSO aren't reformists. Yes, they're also nothing. Yeah, I know. There's a bunch of German communist parties as well. Beyond what people consider to be like Die Linke is the most, I guess, what is it? It's like Die Linke is the most like viable left party, right? Yeah, there's like crazy parties in Germany with like 8 people in them. Bro, it's like coming to me and being like, I know you're gonna make fun of me, but I have a Enver Hoxha party that I am implementing in Lithuania, and we are going to do true Maoism in Lithuania, and we are no longer engaging in the vulgar revisionist, the shitty revisionist, bastardized, watered down version of Marxist-Leninism. We're doing true Marxist-Leninism, Hoxhaism. You're acting like they do nothing. For the most part, they don't. I love the PSL. I rep the PSL pretty hard, but it's crazy to say that they are doing things, right? Also, CPUSA CPUSA endorsed Joe Biden. CPUSA is more liberal aligned than the DSA is, if that's the same one we're talking about.
He didn't pick Osborne. Mary Patola, was there anybody else running for Senate in Alaska? Is there? I don't think so. Like, there's no evidence that Chuck Schumer has done anything in terms of picking a good candidate for the Senate, but they're trying to promote this notion. So I don't know. I think that, like, if you see somebody bitching about Hasan Piker's answering of a completely hypothetical question at a time where, if you believe that primaries are important, maybe you don't, in which case I don't give a shit what you think, frankly. But if you believe that primaries are important, what difference does it, what he says now? I mean, it's
and I'll tell you this: I've seen politicians when they hear that Hasan is in the vicinity, and the Democrat politicians, the way they want to be on that stream, they understand this. The people that don't understand this are people that don't want Hasan to have influence. That's
yes.
It.
This is people. I mean, Hasan is a proxy for them losing another fight.
Yep.
All of those people right now, we're thinking Zoran is going to be hated by now. And they're all the ones talking about, like, why is the snow still there in Manhattan? Yesterday was our first day above like 35 degrees, I think.
It's been crazy.
37.
I swear they're using the weather machines against Zoran.
It got warmer because Zoran caved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Taco Zoran.
They turned the freeze ray off.